All right, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Mark of Balance. My name is Mark, and today we're back with another Star Wars story interview. So excited for today. This has been a long time coming. I have a friend from high school. We've made movies together in his backyard, in his garage. They're still living on YouTube if you want to find them. And we always talked about Star Wars back in the day. And throughout the years, we've definitely haven't talked as much, but when Star Wars came up, I feel like we've reached out to each other. So I'm excited to have Dylan on today. Dylan, if you'd like to say hello.
Hello, everybody. Me and Mark have made a whole lot of stuff. And yeah, you're right. Whenever Star Wars came out, I'd send you a DM like, "What'd you think?"
Exactly.
we'd have a brief discussion about it.
Yeah, so throughout, I may be calling Dylan Rocco, and he may be calling me Johnny Allstar. That is in reference to the movies we've made, but don't get alarmed. It's all part of the plan, everyone.
Oh yeah.
So today, let's just jump right into it, Dylan. Where did Star Wars start for you? What was that first memory of yours?
I could tell you, my dad had the box set. I think I have it here somewhere of the VHS tapes. It was like Empire, New Hope, and Return of the Jedi. The original, not the special edition, like the original VHSs that started with like the interview with George Lucas. And when I was little, we had a TV in the car, like that play VHSs, and
Oh, you were the
that's
fancy
where I
family.
remember. That's where I remember watching all the Star Wars movies in like whenever we were going to Staten Island a lot because that would happen. So it's an hour there, you watch the first half, hour home, you watch the second half, and that's where I remember watching Star Wars. And I could tell you for the prequel trilogy, I actually got the game Lego Star Wars before I
Mm.
ever watched the movies. So that's how I learned what was going on in those movies in the game. And then for like my 10th birthday or something, my uncle Luigi, he got me the movies. So I could finally understand what was happening.
Yeah, because all you had was mumbling in the original
Yeah,
Lego
all I
Star
had
Wars
was
game.
I was mumbling, yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is, oh yes, yes, yes.
I think I'm getting all the political factions in this right now.
Oh, the Senate, yes, those all the scenes made a lot of sense with mumbling and pantomiming.
So you're saying that you were introduced through the original trilogy in the car with VHSs. Shout out to
Oh yeah,
VHSs. Those are way on their way out, but
oh
it's
yeah.
fun to reminisce about those. And then the prequels you were introduced through mumbling in Star Wars Lego, the first game.
Yes.
That's
So my
pretty
dad's a big
hilarious.
Star Wars fan, so this is something that we would always watch and talk about.
Yeah. And so what hooked you to Star Wars? Was it just the watching those movies on those car rides? Was there something that stood
Watch
out
them.
to you?
It's just everything. It's amazing. It's a whole nother world that I guess I've seen it so many times when I was little that it just kind of stuck. Cause, as yeah, I'm a filmmaker now, but when
Hmm.
I watch a movie, I think from a filmmaking perspective, whatever. But when I watch Star Wars, that's like it's like I'm reading a history book. Like I understand what happens. Like I don't even think about the filmmaking aspects. I'm all about the story. It's like a whole world. Like I could show up there. I haven't been to Batu yet, but I'm ready with like I could be a historian.
Me either. I
I
haven't been
love
yet.
Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I can tell, Dylan. I know.
It's just the deep levels that really get me. Everything connects. It's got its highs and lows.
Yeah, we'll get into those eventually. So what part of Star Wars do you think you like the most? Do you like the philosophical aspect of it, the Force and all that, or do you like more of the action and the spectacle of it, or is it a combination of both?
I'm an action spectacle guy, but
Hmm.
also, a little bit of both. My favorite part of Star Wars is the Clone Wars animated series. Like, hands down, it's my favorite part of Star Wars, and I'll never stop advertising it to all my friends. Like, you need to watch the Clone Wars. Now you really have to watch the Clone Wars, all the new stuff coming out to understand it. Before that, you just said that. But
Exactly.
I enjoy the philosophical stuff, like the sins of the father affect the son, Darth
Hmm.
Vader, Luke Skywalker, all stuff like that, because it makes you think like if my dad was like a space uh, emperor, like would I think I could change his mind? Probably not. I probably would probably just kill him, I guess, for the good of the galaxy. But that's why I'm not Luke
Skywalker.
Skywalker. I almost said Star Killer there. That's the wrong name.
It
That's
was
the
the right
original
name at one point, but yeah, they
at one
changed it.
point.
Yeah. Well, you brought up Clone Wars, so let's definitely talk about it. Did you watch it week to week as a kid on Cartoon Network? Did you like DVR it like me, or did you kind of discover it a little bit later into it?
I watched the first episode, the premiere where it's Yoda and the three clones and they go to negotiate, and I fell asleep in the middle of it.
Oh
And
my
then I
gosh.
never watched it ever again until right before Force Awakens came out. I'm like, I think it's time I should watch this. Everyone's talking about it, and I would watch it at night on my iPad. And I would. It took me like a couple months. And I finished it. I'm like, this is fantastic. This is the best part of Star Wars. I
Right.
was crying when Ahsoka left. That
Mm.
is hands down. I watched the whole thing right before Force Awakens came out, and then spent 3 years being very disappointed that Disney didn't reference that at all until they started doing that.
And with Clone Wars, I feel like we used to talk about the clones a lot. Who was your favorite clone throughout?
Captain Rex.
Rex, my man.
I have a mask somewhere, not like his helmet, like a mask. I have the Captain Rex mask. I have a
Uh-huh.
picture of me when I went to go see Empire Strikes Back with the live orchestra. Some guy was cosplaying as Rex, and that's my Venmo picture. Is me and Captain Rex. Met my hero.
I have two things to bring up from what you just said. First of all, the orchestra seeing Empire Strikes Back live. You saw that? That's amazing. Where did you see
It's
that?
awesome. I was in Newark at the Performing Arts Center. My girlfriend got me tickets for Christmas a couple of years ago, and like it's awesome. They got like 30 people orchestra, and they're all there doing it. It's something to behold. Obviously it's not John Williams, but John Williams is playing in Philadelphia in like next month, and me and my friends were talking about maybe going to go see him conduct Star Wars stuff. But still, like anybody conducting live music for Star Wars is like it's a whole nother level to feel like the vibrations fill the room, like versus coming from a speaker or like headphones. It was like an experience.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's such a great gift. And yeah, it's such a more intimate like feeling when that music is live. I mean, no matter what, I mean, music live is just so much different.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's an amazing gift. The second thing, Captain Rex's arc throughout the show, I think is so underrated. I think a lot of people love Captain Rex, but I think his arc, especially through, you know, the Umbara where, he wants to follow orders to a T and he realizes at some point you have to say like this is wrong and go against orders. And then obviously at the end of season 7 that we just got, I just really appreciated his character as a whole.
He's been through a lot. That's why he's the best clone. He knows when to change it up a little bit to get the job done. And hopefully he never learns what truly happened to his general. I feel like it'll break his heart.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see in Bad Batch. I don't know. He's in the fray and Darth Vader's out there, so we'll
Eh,
see. Um, but yeah, what were some of your other favorite moments from Clone Wars? I know that's a loaded question, probably.
Let's see here. Umbara was fantastic. Um, George Lucas's favorite arc was the D Squad. I could take it or leave it with the D Squad arc,
Yeah, not sure about
but
that one, George.
I loved obviously all of season 7 except
Mm,
the Martez sisters were kind of eh. I think they could have went with the Crystal Crisis arc instead if they were really going to remake it.
yeah.
Anything with Ahsoka, seeing Ahsoka go from like a very annoying sidekick to like now like one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Like I remember crying, like I was crying tears of joy when she showed up in The Mandalorian. I'm like, oh, there it is. I watched her grow up, and now she's very important to Star Wars. So seeing her grow up, and then a couple months ago, her meeting like Luke Skywalker in Book of Boba Fett was another
Yeah.
big moment to see a character like that
Hmm.
go from the TV, well, still on the TV, but from
Different
the
type of TV.
cartoon world to,
Yeah.
to streaming and meet like a legacy character like that. Because that's always been, it's just been really cool to see the prequels and original trilogy kind of meld a little bit recently with characters meeting other characters, and I'm hoping in the Ahsoka series we see a little bit more.
Yeah, isn't it incredible? Just like Clone Wars back in the day was not talked about, and Rebels was probably overlooked, and now they're the two most important pieces of Star Wars content we have for this next
I
phase.
feel vindicated that I watched them. That now
I
it's important.
feel like everyone can now bow down as original watchers. We can be like, yes, we've been telling you
Yeah.
this.
It's like, oh, I knew that. Like, yeah, Ahsoka has white lightsabers because she bled the Inquisitor's crystals. Like, you guys didn't know that? Like,
You guys
it's
didn't
very
read the
simple.
book? What do you mean?
You guys didn't read the book or the comics?
Yeah, you guys are just catching up. They're just catching up. No, I love that. Um, so let's talk about, you mentioned the Ahsoka series. What are some other series you're looking forward to? Obi-Wan obviously coming next month. Yeah, it's already April
Day
next
before
month.
my birthday,
Hell
the
yeah,
two
what a present.
episodes drop. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So are
I
you
am
looking
very
for,
much looking
go ahead, go
forward
ahead.
to all of them. I told my friend I could die a happy man if we get a live action Clone Wars flashback with Captain Rex and Ahsoka and Anakin and Obi-Wan in Clone Wars gear. That'll be it. Star Wars can do whatever they want after that. And I will say it's perfect. It doesn't matter what happens after this. We peaked. We got live action Clone Wars. We got to see live action Captain Rex, and I'll be a happy guy.
That would be an out-of-body experience, I think.
Oh, oh yeah. I think there's at least a 50-50 chance it's gonna happen. I feel
Well,
like they
Ewan
got
said
Tamara
in that
Morrison's contract. Yeah,
right, and
he's
Ewan
there.
said in that interview, he said, I was there as Obi-Wan and he was standing there as Anakin again. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait a minute. Did you just
yeah. Hold on a
confirm?
second. Who else is there?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that I'm looking forward to. Obi-Wan, I think, is gonna be like amazing.
Mhm.
I hope Cody makes an appearance as just someone trying to hunt him down. The Grand Inquisitor kind of looks a little off, but whatever. At least he's there.
He was written well in the trailer, at least. At least it was like good dialogue he had. Yeah, wouldn't it be crazy to see Cody like still out there hunting for his old general? Because he was like, "Damn, I thought I got him and the lizard guy back in back on Utapau, but maybe not."
Yeah, right.
And you mentioned the Crystal Crisis unfinished Clone Wars arc. I think that would be a cool flashback to see as well, with him and Anakin talking about Ahsoka.
By the fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be like the best possible flashback besides a battle scene for no reason because I think it'd look cool. But I think that would be one of the best because one of the lines in there is Anakin's like, "How would you feel if I left the order and I was a major disappointment?" And Obi-Wan says, "Well, that's not true and it never will be." He could be dreaming about that and then he wakes up and like the
Mm.
sad reality of where he's at.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. And I feel like Ahsoka leaving, and that also making Anakin fall to the dark side, those two decisions should weigh on Obi-Wan in this series. Like that's all connected. So I feel like that flashback would be just a perfect opportunity to address both. So maybe, but I
Because he
think
wasn't much help during that. I think he was about a vote to convict her, probably. Although we'll never know
yeah,
when the Palpatine didn't get to read the vote. But yeah, he was no help there. Anakin was the only one that trusted her.
I think the Jedi Council, I forget who said it. It might have been Mace Windu. I think he said we're in agreement, but I don't think it's unanimous. He said something in that council chamber,
Yeah,
so I
he's like,
assume
"This
that
was
was
your
either
great trial." Oh, get out of here, Mace Windu. It's your
douchebag,
fault. Oh my
douchebag.
God, she did nothing wrong. She goes, "Oh, we were just testing you." Then Kiadi Mundi's like, "Oh, you did a good job." Okay.
The Force works in mysterious ways. Yeah, okay, okay, guys. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. And Ahsoka series, we're gonna see Thrawn. Have you read any of the Thrawn books? Or are you
I've
super excited for that?
I've listened to summaries, but
Okay.
yeah, I watch Star Wars Explained on YouTube. He gives me all the good tidbits, so
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Thrawn. I'm very excited to see Thrawn because I thought he was really good in Rebels. He's great in
Hmm.
the books. He's a very different kind of villain. He's into the art. He
Hmm.
because originally I don't know if it's like this in the books. I forget. He only joined the Empire because he came from the unknown region. He's like, we got to protect. Like, there's something coming, and I got to figure out who's the leading force right now to protect the Chiss. And that happened to be the Empire. And he's like the only non-human to rise to the ranks and be, Grand Admiral. So I would like to see him appreciate some of the art in live action. I think that'd be like a very different take for live action Star Wars because his on his capital ship, like he had Commander Gree's helmet and
Hmm.
the Leku thing from Ryloth,
The
and all the
Kalikori.
other, yeah, Kalikori,
Yeah.
and all the art from all the planets. That would be something really interesting to see.
Yeah, I read the first like prequel books for him, and basically like he came during like the Clone Wars, kind of like in the middle of that, and then yeah, like you said, it was kind of like racism, like they didn't want an alien being a high ranking official in the Empire, and yeah, he was there basically to keep the Empire in check so they didn't go out and try and go to the unknown regions and encroach on the Chiss ascendancy. And it's cool. I really love him, and I'm glad they got the voice actor um, for Rebels to play him again.
Because he does it great. He's like
So
so
good.
imposing.
So good, so good. The voice is so
soft
important, I think.
spoken, and like yeah, because that's the difference between the Empire and the First Order. When you look at someone like Tarkin or Thrawn, they're not like compared to General Hux, who's like screaming all the time and like mustache twirling like villain. You can have a commanding presence as a villain without screaming and yelling.
Right.
That's what makes him a very scary villain.
Yeah, cold, calculated, without having to put on a big show. Yep, I totally agree.
So
Um,
hopefully the gloves will come off because in Rebels, it's like a TV show for kids, so he didn't get to really do like he did some stuff, but I'd like to see his restraints come off a little bit in live action to really get his points across.
yeah, that was my biggest complaint with Rebel's use of him. I don't think he was able to be um, as brutal as he was in the books because it was a Disney XD show, so they had to kind of dial it down. He definitely had his moments for sure, but
Oh
I
yeah,
think
like
there's
when he
so
made
much
that
more.
guy rev up the speeder bike and just blow up in front of them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then at the end in the finale, when he's raining down on the base and the shield goes out, he goes, "Oh, we'll stop, and then we'll go down there and talk." Like, no, 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 just keep going,
Too many
eliminate
main
them.
characters, Dylan. Too many main characters. They can't
You're
keep
right.
them.
They got the plot armor.
Exactly. Exactly. So you kind of talked about General Hux. So I feel like we should talk about the sequels because I think
Here
you've
we go.
been kind of
Let me buckle in here. Here we go.
I think you've kind of been alluding to it. I know we have differing opinions on The Last Jedi, and we've definitely been we've definitely said to each other like, "Hey, we know we don't see eye to eye here, but there's a conversation there." So
Yeah,
I definitely wanted to hear your kind of takes on the sequels as a whole, and then maybe if you wanted to focus on Last Jedi, we could do that as well. But
sure.
yeah.
When Force Awakens came out, I really didn't enjoy that it was just New Hope again,
Hmm.
but I thought it was a good jumping off point to lead into something. But my main problem with the sequels is that they didn't have a plan. Like you buy Star Wars for $4 billion and you don't know what you don't like have a rough idea of what 3 movie arc you want to make.
Hmm.
That's not the best, but because last Force Awakens takes us this direction, and then Last Jedi's like, hold on a second, and then JJ comes back and goes, no, we're gonna go back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I think it would have all worked out a lot better if either JJ or Ryan Johnson just made all 3.
Hmm.
Because over the years I've softened up on Last Jedi. I like it. I say it has some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. I I just don't like my biggest thing wrong with Last Jedi is I wish that Rey joined Kylo in the throne room. Her saying no was just to me it was just like, predictable. I wish we had something totally unexpected like that
Right.
where we'd go into the third movie of the trilogy and we lost the main character to the dark side, and I think that would have been better. But I I don't think it's the worst Star. No, actually, I think it is. Actually, it's on the bottom of my list of Star. Actually, no. Attack of the Clones, I think, is more boring. I have that below that.
Yeah, I
I
totally
just realized this
agree.
box is following me around, Mark. I forgot that you could see this. My
It's
focus
been
box. I'm
focusing,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah, no, no worries. It's kept me locked in, honestly. It's kept me focused directly on your face the whole time. uh,
Ugh.
but yeah,
um.
I agree with you with the sequels. I think, Disney bought Star Wars in 2012 and they already had a movie out by 2016. Like there's just no way they had that 6-year plan like for the movies releasing over 6 years or whatever it took. I don't even know.
Yeah. Right. Like plan it out. You just bought one of the most like the biggest franchises ever, and you're like, we'll make it up
And you only
as
have
we go,
one
I
chance to
guess.
impress people. So, they should have realized, if you mess this up, people are going to jump off the train. And they did start jumping off until they did Mando. And then people were like,
Jump they
okay,
did.
okay.
If they didn't make Mando, we'd be in a much worse spot. But that after Mandalorian came out, so I think Star Wars is back to being at its peak like ever.
Really?
It's
Wow.
I think so. That
Mm,
I mean, it probably was bigger when like Empire Strikes Back was coming out, or maybe when Revenge of the Sith came out. But this is like I think the third biggest wave of Star Wars right now, with all the shows coming out, and I think everybody has a pretty much favorable view of Mandalorian. Boba Fett got kind of mixed,
yeah.
but I don't think anybody hates any of the new stuff like they hated Last Jedi or Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker, I'm kind of mad on. I left the theater liking it, but
Right.
I've had zero desire to go back and watch it, and I have not, even though
Yeah.
it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're all there, but yeah,
They're all there.
I've only seen Rise of Skywalker 2 times, I think, and I very much did not like the direction they took it. Still, it's Star Wars. It's very enjoyable to
Yeah,
watch, and there are moments in it that I
there's
like.
moments.
Yeah, like Ben and Han on Death Star, like the broken down Death Star. Like I appreciated that, but the whole
Hmm.
bringing people back to life thing, back in
That yeah,
that
like
never
where
jived
was
with me.
that? Like Obi-Wan could have did that to Qui-Gon. Like you're just breaking the rules in the last movie,
Yeah.
just making up stuff. And then I personally didn't like when they like that fight scene when they were in two places at once. That stuff got kind of confusing. I in
Mm.
Last Jedi I felt like it worked because I didn't think they actually saw each other like in the same room like that. I thought it was kind of like implied that they just saw each other. But now
Hmm.
they're having lightsaber fights and they're in the same. Like, what did everybody else see? Like, if I was standing
Right.
outside of that, like, what was going on?
Right. Yeah. Like that. You need a third person just out there being like,
Yeah,
"Why is he just swinging at nothing right now?"
it's so weird. But I think the sequels could be redeemed the same way the Clone Wars redeemed the prequels. Give me a show set after Rise of Skywalker with more Finn. Finn and Poe were the best part of the sequel trilogy, in my opinion. I would
Hmm.
watch a show of just them doing anything. But Rey is okay
Yeah.
if she has more time to do something that she's bad at and get better at it, because she's not really bad at anything. She
Right.
does it all. So I think they could redeem it the same way they redeemed the prequels, but I just wish they put more thought. Like there's this interview with Domhnall Gleeson where he's talking about someone asked him, "What's General Hux's first name?" And he's like, "I only know because at Comic Con or something, a fan told me." Like how don't you tell an actor the first name of your character?
It's General.
That's
That's the first thing.
General.
It's General. Yeah, it seems like it was very much not thrown together. That's incorrect, but it seemed like they wanted to get a movie out every 2 years, and no matter
Yeah,
what happened, they were going to release it. They were like, "We can't delay it. We can't do anything like that. We need to release it every 2 years." And
yeah,
I feel like they should have just said, "Hey, maybe we should save some face here and delay these movies and figure it out." But
yeah. And
yeah,
they got Favreau and Filoni in there, and they turned the ship around. I think
the Mandoverse is going
the
strong.
Mando verse is taking off.
Yeah. But we always knew this as Clone Wars fans.
Oh yeah, we knew Dave Filoni, and we trust in Filoni.
We knew Filoni was the one to right the ship, and now that he's there, it's like we're just sitting here like we could have done this a
Yeah,
couple years
this could
ago.
have happened years ago. This could have been the sequel trilogy. There's no reason why the sequel trilogy couldn't have been about Mandalorian man. This could have been. If they, I
Do
bet
you think
there's.
Filoni likes the sequels?
I mean, he's a Star Wars guy. He probably loves every little bit of it. But
Mm,
I bet he's like, I could have done that better.
yeah,
One more thing on Rise of Skywalker. Did you
sure.
read the other thing, the Duel of the Fates that Colin Trevorrow was gonna make, like the
Yeah,
alternate?
yeah.
I think that would have been better.
Me and my sister did the we did a read through for one of my episodes a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
and we talked through it. And yeah, I mean, it's tough because it was a first draft, so they might have had
yeah,
to tweak some things, but yeah, I really liked them bringing in Mortis. I really liked them, talking about
something new,
yeah, I
different.
liked the Sith guy who taught him how to drain the life out of someone.
Yeah,
Tor
it just
Valem, I
makes
think his name
sense.
was.
Yeah,
It was very cool, and it
like
seemed more
I think that
adventurous.
would have been and more connected. Like it was on Coruscant. Like
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
felt like the finale of Star Wars
Right.
instead of space horses on a Star Destroyer. So like
Coming out
who's
of the
who's
ground.
sending them those materials? Like who's building that?
My favorite was were all those people on those ships just sitting underground in these ships for
Waiting.
10 to 20 years, just
Yeah, they
waiting
get
to
up there.
get
They
lift.
go. This is the moment. Now, how do we get out of here? We got to make sure we got that one radio tower. We don't know how to get out of here. We can't just go up for some reason. We got to follow the radio.
The radio
Even
tower
though
is the only way out.
Emperor Palpatine, he sent one ship to whatever planet that was, Kijimi, and blew up Kijimi. Why didn't they all just go? He had his chance.
We can't poke too many holes. It'll just keep falling
Slowly,
apart.
I will release my ships one at a time. But don't, and I'll put the radio tower somewhere very conspicuous, unless they have space horses.
If they have space sources, we're done. Or if they get Lando to come with every single person in the galaxy.
There's more of us.
There's
I
more of
like
us.
Lando. He was cool. His show. I don't think is gonna focus on that. I think it's Donald Glover's Lando in the Lando show. But
Yeah.
I'd like to see if and then that weird scene at the end. He's like, "Oh, you want to go find your mom and your dad?" Like, what was that? That's so weird.
It made it seem like he was her dad. Like
Yeah, that's what I thought.
he kind of said it very oddly. He's like, "Hey, do you want to go find your mom and dad?" And he just gave her that look.
I thought that's the direction they're going to. I'm like, they're really going to make like the only other like African American cast member happen to be related.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this random person in the galaxy. I'm
That
like,
would've been
wow,
a good look.
this is what we're going with.
Yeah, that would have been a great look. Yeah. No, that's funny. And yeah, I think we're kind of on the same page with the sequels. And I think, like you, The Last Jedi, it had a chance to do something really cool. And while, like you said, it had highs and lows, it had that one chance to flip the script and it didn't commit to it. But, I think they learned their lesson. I think Disney's gonna start planning a little better maybe now.
Yeah. Well, and then like the tactical decisions by Admiral Holdo, I don't think made very much sense. But I could say the same thing about the trench run. Why didn't they just fly to the end of the trench run? Why did they get in at the bottom? I could poke holes throughout all of Star Wars, but
Right.
yeah, then you start hyperspace ramming stuff, and then Pablo Hidalgo on Twitter is like, "Oh, you can't do that again. There was like a 1 in a million chance that you can't just do that ever again."
I love
Like,
I love that.
so how she just got lucky, I guess.
She put it all in on that one thing that might have worked, and because it worked, Pablo Hidalgo needs to now make it canon.
Yeah,
And
he's
be
like, "Oh, that was a 1 in a million chance. Nobody else could like even try to do that again. Like, you just build a ship with autopilot and just throw like 10 at it, and maybe one will do it."
just keep hyperdriving ships. You don't even need
Yeah.
missiles anymore. You just throw in hyperdrive ships at people.
Don't get me started on those bombers in the beginning. Like,
Oh, you
slow.
hated those. Oh, you hated
They're
those.
so slow. This is useless.
And they're dropping like World War II bombs.
Yeah. Like the Y-wing shot plasma. Why are you
Mhm.
dropping these things? The Y-wing they sent the Y-wing to the Death Star. But a super star destroyer, we got to send the World War II the bombers that need 2 people and to press the button to press it. Otherwise, the pilot can't send the bombs. And then we never saw that ship again, ever.
Nope, never
Where was
once.
that ship in the Rise of Skywalker?
It wasn't. They were like, yeah, this one took too long last movie. We need to
They got the
retire this
Y-wings
model.
back out. It's like, man, this ship is so slow. Why'd we build this?
That was the first test, actually. That was the prototype, and it was a
And, like,
horrible failure.
They came off of Dakar. Why didn't they send those ships at the end of Force Awakens to go blow up Starkiller Base? If they had them there, they didn't think maybe blowing up a planet, send the big ships. But were they expecting the First Order to show up at Dakar? And they're like, all right, we have them. Let's send the big slow ships. It's time.
It's time we slow it down. We take it slow.
Slow it down. Get over the Super Star Destroyer, and very slowly, we'll drop the bombs.
Not too fast. Not too fast.
And then we won't have any shields. So if one TIE fighter wing will go through like 3 of us, and it is what it is. Because we go
Beautiful
very
tactic.
slowly, that could happen.
Beautiful tactics on the part of the resistance.
The prank call in the beginning, General Hux, I want to talk to you about your ma. Can you imagine like Han Solo talking to Tarkin, like, I want to talk to your mom?
I feel like Harrison Ford would have nailed that.
It might have been better.
That's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
let's jump to video games, because you were introduced to the prequels with video games, surprisingly. So, what are some video games with Star Wars that really hold a special place in your heart, other than the original game for Lego?
Yeah. Well, the Episode 3 game I think is fantastic. Force Unleashed. I never played the second one, but the number one,
Don't play.
I
the second
played
one.
that for hours. I thought about buying it again recently, but apparently the PC port's not that great. But that Force Unleashed is fantastic. Recently, Fallen Order is really good.
Mhm.
Obviously, both Battlefront 2s. The second one, they finally turned that around right there at the end, and
Yeah,
I think it's a great game now.
I do
Like,
too.
it should have launched like this. It's fantastic.
I know.
But
I remember we were talking about Battlefront back in high school, and I think you had the VR, right, for the X-wing
oh,
experience.
I had the
Yeah.
VR. I was flying the X-wing. I was doing a trench run. Oh my god!
Getting
I
seasick, getting motion sickness.
Yeah, you go do on a swivel chair, so like you feel it. Get the fan in front of you.
Feel the wind.
Yeah, yeah, that was an experience. Uh, I had this game when I was little. It was a very early like VR game, but without VR. You had like the training droid, and you put it on top of your tube TV, and you
Mm.
had a little lightsaber
Yeah,
that
yeah, I had that.
it was like Duck Hunt, I guess. You just slash, and I
And
remember playing that.
you had to perfectly block the bolts and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I did this when I went to Los Angeles a couple of years ago. I went to Void VR and they're out of business now because of COVID. But
Hmm.
before that, there was a Rogue One like official canon like VR experience, and that is the best thing I've ever done in my life. You go in with four of your friends and you wear like the vest and the goggles, but then you go to Moose. Have you ever seen like the footage of it?
I don't think so. I don't even know what
All
this
right, so
is.
here
Wait,
comes some
what?
spoilers. It's amazing. This is you can't do it anymore because the company went out of business, but it is canon. So
Okay.
you strap in and you and four of your friends you walk in and you look down like they have cameras everywhere, so they're scanning your body. So like you could go like this and your fingers will move, and you are a stormtrooper. Like it conforms to your body. It was unreal. So and you got your headsets on. It's like you talk like it sounded like you were going over the comms with your friends
Yeah.
and you went to Mustafar to go try to find something. So K2SO drops you off, and they mapped the space. They built it in real life, like not into the same detail. Like they just built like the shapes, so you could like touch everything. It was unbelievable. Like the K2SO was like, "Have a seat." My friend's like, "Yeah, okay." And I'm like, "Wait,
Can we say?
there's a seat here." And you're sitting down, and you go to Mustafar, and they're pumping in heat and then it's like, oh, take a blaster off the wall, and like you pick up an E11, and the security breach happens, so you're just shooting. This was unbelievable. So three of us are shooting stormtroopers as my friend other Dylan. You got to solve the puzzle to open the door, and they're blowing steam in your face. So you're getting hit with this, and then you get in. And you were looking for like a long lost lightsaber that hasn't showed back up in canon yet, but it was pretty neat. It was a very
Yeah.
it's and then Darth Vader shows up and he's across the way and he forces the lightsaber to him and like everyone turns and my friend's like, there it is, and like open fires on Vader and he's running towards you and you're like, oh my god, and then the doors close and that was it, and that was the best like 10 minutes of my life of like
And
we
this
were
is
in Star Wars.
impossible to play now.
Yeah, it's gone. The
Oh
company
my
went out of business, but
god.
I was there. I did it, and it was hands down like the best 10 minutes of my life. I was in Star Wars. I went to Los Angeles and that was the highlight of my trip.
That's
was,
amazing.
was being in VR.
Yeah, the only like VR I've done with Star Wars was at like Dave and Buster's. They had the Vader Immortal. I think they had just part of
Oh,
it,
that's great.
and it was kind of like a standing thing. But like I played as Ahsoka, and I had the two paddles, so I had her two lightsabers, and I was like throwing them, force pushing with them, and I was like, this is gaming. This is what I
That's a
need.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then in 2 days the new Lego Star Wars comes out, so I'm expecting that to be a big hit.
I'm very
I hope.
excited. I'm postponing my Elden Ring purchase to play this before I get into Elden Ring because I'm like, you know
It's
what?
supposed to come out 2 years ago. It's time.
I know. Isn't it incredible? There's like a poster of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga that says coming 2020, and then there's another one that says
Woo.
coming 2021, and then there's another one that
Remember,
says
they announced it like all the movies, and it was before Rise of Skywalker came out. I'm like, oh, the game's probably done. It just can't come out yet because the movie didn't come out yet. Which, funny enough, the first Lego Star Wars game came out before Revenge of the Sith, so like a month before. So if you played that, you just knew what happened in the movie before the movie came out.
no
That would
way,
never happen today. It
no
came out like
way.
a whole month before Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my gosh, that's like
That's why
that.
in the
It,
Lego game, that's why the disguised clones are still there. They ended up cutting that scene from the movie, but it's in the game.
what? I never even noticed.
There you
That,
go. There's some more facts for you.
that's
I'm
like
full of them.
That's like with Phantom Menace. They released the official soundtrack before the movie came out, and one of the tracks is called like Qui-Gon's death or like Qui-Gon's funeral.
Yeah.
So people knew that he was gonna die. I was like,
Yeah.
which
It's
sucks for
tough with
those people.
stuff like that because it's all contracts and legal stuff. Like stuff needs to be released at certain times, but you could name it stuff that's not so obvious, so it
Right.
doesn't happen.
I know. Such a good oversight. Would never happen under Disney, right?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen. What happened like last year? Burger King like leaked they did something. I think Burger King was involved with a leak because they put out toys for uh Mandalorian before they announced season 2 or something, and it was a big thing last year. But I
Oh
remember Burger
gosh.
King was involved.
Burger King was involved with a scandal within Star Wars.
Yeah, Burger King and Star Wars, they leaked something. The king wants it,
The
and
King
he
was
told
coming for Star
everybody.
Wars. Yeah, no, the merchandising stuff always like outs things. I feel like toys, everything. Oh, like if you want to know a spoiler, if you want to know like something's coming, just check all the sites that are
The
doing
toys.
toys, and the toys usually show up because Star Wars is that
They always
merchandising giant.
they always drop the pop figures before the movie. I remember I have a first order executioner. I remember buying it going, I really hope he's in the movie because I have this and the movie's not out yet. I hope he's a good character. And he was in it for 5 seconds, but he was in it.
The
But
end
yeah, they
of
always drop
the
the end of Last Jedi when they
last,
have to
oh, the
execute
guy with the
Finn and
electric
Rose.
thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah, okay, okay. Well, at least he was in it. That's good. That's good.
he was there. Yeah, he didn't get cut like Constable Zuvio in The Force Awakens. It's all his toys are all in Target. His scene got cut. He's not even in the movie.
I don't even know who that is. I obviously shouldn't know because he's not
He
in the
was
movie.
supposed to be he was supposed to be like the constable of Jakku, and he was gonna have a scene with like, Unkar Plutt, and they just cut him out the whole movie. But they already made the toys.
So they're just like, we'll just get our money anyway. And people just have
Mm.
these toys now for no reason. Oh,
He
Star
was the same
Wars.
species as Embo, I think, from Clone Wars,
Oh,
and then they
damn.
just cut him out the movie. Gone.
I would love to see Embo again because Cad Bane looked great.
Oh,
But
I
Cad
loved
Bane looked
Cad
really
Bane in
good.
Book of Boba Fett. He's canonically still alive, I think. He was in some interlude of a book a couple years ago, but his dog died, and I think it took place post Return of the Jedi.
E- Embo, because he had
Embo.
the dog. Okay. Oh, good, good. I hope to see our boy out there somewhere because I miss him and his fun hat that he throws.
Yeah. Star Wars and hats. They
Good hats.
Cad Bane, Embo. Who else has a hat? Yeah, all the people in Rebels, they
Our
wore their
helmets
hat,
hats.
yeah, just like this, so they could use the same character model for everybody.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and I have the terrible voice actors and voice all of them.
Yeah, it's the same dude for everybody.
Just
They
throw a
were cutting
Wilhelm scream in
corners.
there.
Yeah, they were cutting corners on Rebels and the pencil thin lightsabers, but the story was good.
Story was good. The story was there, but Disney XD was not there.
Twilight of the Apprentice, I think, is one of the best episodes, best plot points of Star Wars ever.
Yeah, you're
That's up
talking my
there.
language. You're talking my language.
That stuff makes me cry when you watch it on YouTube with the flashbacks. That's like heartbreaking.
Season two, watching that live, the end of season two live that was the last time I think Star Wars truly shocked me. Other than like season
Mhm.
7 of Clone Wars, but like I don't want to say we knew it was gonna happen, but we had an idea like that.
Yeah,
No idea.
we never knew if Ahsoka was gonna survive Order 66 or ever see Darth Vader ever, and like
Yeah,
his eyeball through the mask, like that
deep
scene.
stuff.
I hope we see a battle damaged Vader like that in Obi-Wan somehow. I would like to because it's popped up in Clone Wars or whatever.
Mhm.
I want to see his mask with the slice through it.
And we want to see
Show me Hayden
Hayden.
Christensen.
Exactly. We want to see
Just
Hayden.
show me Hayden.
Give me some Hayden with a mask on, please. Yeah, so
They brought my
let's
man back.
right. Yeah, so let's talk about some of your favorite characters. I feel like we just rattle off a bunch of awesome things, but yeah, who are some of your favorite characters, villain, hero, throughout the whole thing?
Oh, I'm a prequel guy. My
Mhm,
favorite characters, give me Rex, Ahsoka, Anakin. Uh, Villain wise, I think Maul is fantastic. Obviously Vader.
mhm.
Boba Fett, he's kind of in the middle now. after his series. Now he's just some guy that is the mayor of a town. So he's got something going on.
I am the daimyo.
I am the daimyo, like a panther.
That was odd.
But Din Djarin's a new favorite.
Yeah, no, he's become like a symbol. Like I feel like when I saw him in Book of Boba Fett, I was like, oh yeah, I do really like this guy. Like he's showing up and he's making me feel really good that I'm seeing him.
When his theme played at the end of one of the episodes of Book of Boba Fett, when they're like, oh, we gotta hire some muscle, and like the theme played, and I got the chills. I'm like, that's it. He's a main Star Wars character now, and you could just play their theme and go, oh, something, he's coming.
Yeah, and all you need is that silhouette.
Da-dum.
Da-dum. Yeah, exactly.
I guess I should pick some people from the other trilogies. Han Solo is a cool guy. The guy on Cloud City in the background, whatever his Wilbur Hood,
The ice cream maker, yeah.
Ice Cream Man. Yes, he's very important to the plot. Sequel wise, I think Kylo Ren's my favorite. Kylo Ren is, I think, he had a lot going for him.
Yeah.
He was a very deep character. They really blew it not having him talk to Anakin, but there's still time. We could have a show, and they could talk.
Yeah,
They could go back and fix it.
We'll see if they can bring Adam Driver back. I don't see him coming back anytime soon.
Oh, he's a busy guy, but let him have the goatee. His face, he's a nice looking man. Like Adam Driver is a nice looking guy. He'd give him the goatee, let him talk to Anakin, take his shirt off again.
Of course,
that
of course.
That was a highlight of Last Jedi. Ben Swolo.
I
wish
think
we
he's
got
in
more Ben Solo.
I think he's in Lego Star Wars, the new one. I think they have the Swolo version of him. So that's gonna be hilarious. Good. Excellent.
I don't think they'll ever get Daisy Ridley to come back to Star Wars, but maybe they will. They'll just pay her a lot of money.
Yeah, see, but I'm actually the opposite. I think Daisy Ridley is the most likely to come back, and Adam's the least likely, and Oscar Isaac's definitely not. He's already moved on to Marvel. He's in Marvel now, and John Boyega didn't really have a nice sign off with Disney. So
I remember that a couple of years ago. He was making fun of Disney. Well, they cut him out of the Chinese poster.
No, I'm on his side. I'm just saying I don't think he wants to work.
I would love to see more Finn. I think they could get Oscar Isaac back. I think he did a voice for the Christmas special. I think.
Oh, did he?
Came back. Yeah, I think he played himself. I might not be certain. Well, he at least played himself in Resistance. I didn't watch that, but I just know he was in it, and he watched it and he played himself. But I think if they paid Oscar Isaac enough money, I think him and Finn could come back. Maybe Daisy Ridley, I guess. What about Kelly Marie Tran? I think they could. I don't hate her. I just thought Rose was really.
I don't hate her.
But I think Kelly Marie Tran's a great person. I think they just need to give her the story.
Right.
Instead of just being, I like blocked out all the stuff she said from my memory. I wish I could put my fist to this whole beautiful planet. When they're on Canto Bight.
The war criminals casino planet.
Oh, and DJ. Oh, DJ. Ugh. That was a stupid character in my opinion.
They're all the same. They're all the same.
You blow them up today, they blow you up tomorrow.
Yeah, that was interesting, but yeah, no.
I think they wasted Gwendolyn Christie. I wanted to see more Phasma.
Yeah, there was a lot of people they built up and then didn't really use.
She had a whole book.
She did have a whole book, but like most people are going to be like, okay, well, I'd rather just see her have character development in the movie if that's okay.
Yeah, right. But she was in Game of Thrones. Like she could do stuff. Like
she can do stuff.
She did nothing.
She just got beat twice by a trash compactor and then an angry Finn.
Yeah, an angry Finn.
Yeah. I think the sequels, to be honest, I think they're kind of they're put to bed. I don't know if they're going to be doing any more extended content around them, but only time will tell.
I think the Filoniverse is heading that way. Remember in Mandalorian, they saw the clone. I think it's that's got to be Grogu's point Snoke, has to be about Snoke and cloning. Yeah. They got to do it in such a way that's very slow and will
Yeah.
retroactively make them better. That's what Star Wars does. You make something, it's then you make a whole series that kind of makes it better.
Yeah, they
And you
couldn't
go, that was the
retcon it.
plan the whole time.
Right, they couldn't retcon it. They just had to make it make more sense. So they're like, "Hey, Mandoverse is now going to explain what the hell the Snoke thing was in
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker."
That's like, Emperor Palpatine's message at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. It's not in the movie, but it was in Fortnite, and I didn't listen to it in Fortnite. I had to look that up.
It was in Fortnite.
Yeah, that's how they released it. That was one of the promotions. They played like his message. I don't even know what it says because I didn't know that that was in there. But yeah, it just played across Fortnite. Like Ian McDermott like voiced it, and it's not in the movie. Instead, we got the dead speak. Somehow, Palpatine returned
Okay, so I think I'm seeing a trend with Disney is they have a lot of stuff explained outside the movies,
elsewhere. Yeah.
which is not good. Usually, the outside stuff just adds context to the movies. It doesn't fundamentally matter to them. So
Yeah, it's not like you gotta like do your homework, but like afterwards to figure
yeah,
out what the movie meant.
right. Yeah, I know. That's one of my least favorite parts, but we'll see in the next phase of Star Wars. Hopefully they'll get away from that. But
And it's always these logistical questions I have, like who is giving them the material to build the Star Destroyers on what's the Exegol? Like
Exegol, yeah.
where did all the metal come from?
Maybe from
Who
Exegol
like
itself.
I guess, but who was given all the how did they build Starkiller Base and no one noticed? Like people were contracted.
Right, right. Was no
People
one talking?
worked. There was no one talking about, I just got this new
Dylan's
job.
like, where are the pay stubs for all these people?
Yeah, like
They got-
that's a big job. We got to
There's
hollow
got to be
out.
a
Where'd
money.
the dirt go?
There's
Where'd they
got,
put the dirt?
like, there's got to be a money trail. It was in
Yeah,
it was in Fallen Order. That was cool seeing Ilum. Like that was
yeah.
really
They were
cool.
they were building it.
Mm-hmm.
See,
They
that's
were
another
building
thing.
it.
They just threw that in there later. Like, yeah, it's Ilum. That's where the kyber crystals. That's how they could shoot the laser. Sure,
See,
okay.
yeah, because it's powerful. We
Yeah,
just
but
have
that
a whole
worked out.
thing.
I like that.
No, it did work. I liked it.
But like all they had to do is say it in the movie. It's like, oh, we've captured the Jedi planet, and we will use the kyber crystals to fire a laser and another Death Star. Woo!
That can kill multiple planets instead of one.
And then we'll put the Death Star tech on the Star Destroyers, and we'll have a bunch of them. Next time, they're just gonna build a big thing that goes around the planet and then eats it,
And
then
then
it has the
uses that
planet
to
now.
shoot lasers that destroy
Yeah,
planets. It
that's
uses
the
the core.
plan. Death
It's all,
Star tech. It always goes back to Death Star tech.
next phase is just all gonna. Mando is. It's just gonna end up being
The
clone.
dark saber, he's gonna plug it into something, and a big black beam is gonna shoot and blow up a planet. They're
It's
gonna blow
gonna be
up
clone Death
Mandalore.
Star tech, and from Mandalore. From Mandalore.
Somehow, Paz Vizsla has returned.
Oh my gosh. All right, Dylan. Let's. I think we've gotten to the moment of truth. Let's hear that Star Wars ranking, the movie ranking.
Here we go.
Yeah, bottom to top, starting at
Bottom to top.
11, I think. Unless you're including the Clone Wars movie as well, then we'd have 12, I believe.
No, I didn't include the Clone Wars
That's
movies
okay.
or Rogue One or Solo
Okay.
because that I don't think a movie about Han Solo can't really compare to like the galaxy-wide stakes of all the other movies. But I personally like both of them. I think
Mhm.
Rogue One is the best movie Disney has made
I
so
agree.
far.
I agree.
Solo was good, but I felt like I felt like a straight to DVD movie. Like, did we need it? No. Was it good? Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, but
It's fun.
it was fun. It could have. I didn't think it was like the biggest thing ever, but it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. We
Yeah.
got we got to see a live action Pike. We got to see Kessel, and Lando was there, and then recently Kira showed back up in the comics.
Oh, nice.
I was kind of disappointed she didn't show up in Book of Boba Fett. I thought Crimson Dawn was gonna come back. I was wrong.
Yeah,
but-
no, they didn't. They didn't go.
Maybe in
through
the
on
next
that.
show.
Yeah.
But in Dead Last, I'm actually gonna change this on the fly after talking about this.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna switch it. I originally had Last Jedi, but I would watch Last Jedi again before I would watch Attack of the Clones.
Wow. We switched his opinion on air. I love this.
It happened. You watched it happen.
I love
Because
it.
at least in Last Jedi, there's the throne room fight, but Attack of the Clones, I think, is the most boring movie. It's Anakin and Padme talking about on Naboo, and then the bug in the beginning. And I think that's the worst lightsaber fight on Geonosis because it's just so unmemorable to me. Yoda's bouncing around everywhere, and there's the weird scene where it's all dark and they're just swinging things in front of their face because at that time they didn't have technology to have the lightsabers glow, and they did
Oh,
the sequel
really?
trilogy. So they George thought it'd be a cool shot to actually do that and light the actors practically with the lightsaber, but they couldn't collide, so it had to be like that. But just made it look stupid. And the Tusken Raiders killed his mom for some reason, and but like it could have it could have been better. I think it's just a very boring slog to watch, but there's some good parts. The Jedi arena, the clones
Mhm.
showed up. Kamino's cool.
Yeah.
Jango Fett's cool,
Hmm.
but yeah, overall, I that's the one I would probably never watch again.
I gotcha.
If I, it's
Gotcha.
the most boring one. And then Last Jedi, we've
Hmm.
talked about that enough probably.
Yes.
And Rise of Skywalker, one above that.
Hmm.
eh, Same
Talked
thing.
about that as well.
Force Awakens, I think, is a fun ride.
Exactly.
If New Hope didn't exist, that The Force Awakens would be a totally fine, good movie. It's
Hmm.
just they copied another movie that they already did.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it's a fun ride. Like a lot of stuff happens. I think the fight at Mascanata's castle is good, which I'm surprised Mascanata's castle has not shown back up since then, like at all.
No
Like,
playing.
come on, like you can't have the Mandalorian. He goes to a planet every week. He can't end up at Mascanata's cantina. a- Anybody like in Clone Wars, like she's been alive for 1,000 years. Show me Mascanata's castle, please,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
like Mascanata. I thought she was a good character, and her cool pirate castle. Yeah, and then it gave us Poe Dameron and Finn and Ray, all of our favorite people. Uh, Kylo Ren, Snoke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's never everyone's favorite, Snoke.
It's our guy
So
Snoke.
then in fifth place, put the Phantom Menace. So that's the middle of the pack.
Hmm.
It's like 50-50, 50-50 boring, and then the other part is like fantastic.
Right.
You have all the politics, the Trade Federation, the Techno Union,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then you got Darth Maul and the pod race. It's a ride. I think
It,
Phantom Menace is a good ride. I'd watch it
you'd
again.
get
But
on
then
that ride again.
I get on the ride. Yeah, you see little Anakin pod racing, Saboba, Jar Jar
Isabola.
Binks,
Hmm.
Jar Jar Binks. I like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I'm
I
not a
said,
hater. I think people are
yeah,
haters.
yeah. Jar Jar Binks he has a girlfriend in the Clone Wars. Him and Mace Windu went on that mission and they did something. He was there.
Yeah,
It's
those were
actually all Jar
confusing.
Jar's fault though. He voted to give the Palpatine emergency powers, and I hope he feels bad about it.
Do you think he knows? Do you think he knows?
Misa really messed up giving him.
I created the
Oi!
empire.
Boss Nass. But yeah, Phantom Menace is pretty okay.
Yeah.
I think it's better now that Maul's been fleshed out,
Hmm.
but because he was like wasted potential in that movie.
I think he
But
had
his
like one
fight
line.
is great.
Fantastic.
And then we got in fourth place Return of the Jedi. I think it's the worst of the original three, but still very good. I just watched the other two more,
Yeah.
but
And that's all it comes
it's
down to
great.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes all it comes down to it's just the Death Star again, but this time it kind of made more sense because
Right.
it was the first time they built another one that's really quicker this time, and not a lot of people know. It's like triple the size of the first one.
It's like enormous. You wouldn't know
Yeah,
unless you saw those
I
like
didn't.
comparison videos.
Yeah, it's like it's actually much bigger. I'm like, why? Is it bigger and they built it in 2 years, like faster? Again, the paper trail. Who's building this? Who's like, all right, we'll build another one. Okay, yeah.
A lot of the books I feel like talk about how they get all the material for this stuff. They're like, yeah, we got to get those Dorium mines because like we're building something
Scion
bigger.
Fleet Systems is a corrupt company. They're building the TIE fighters. Who's running this?
War criminals,
At least
man.
the Trade Federation was very open that they were like the bad guys.
They were.
These guys, they work in the shadows.
These guys. Not my type of
But-
business, man.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't invest in Scion Fleet Systems. Return of the Jedi, I think is really good though. The fight at the end it introduced Force lightning with like 20 minutes left in what was the original Star Wars trilogy. They just threw that in there at the end.
Electric,
Uh,
literally,
yeah,
literally.
introduced the Emperor. That was the first time you saw the Emperor. Scout troopers. From a visual effects perspective, it was like groundbreaking for a lot of things. When they did the speeders, they did
Mm,
the they changed the way they did lightsabers each time. In New Hope, it was very stupid. Had to be the lightsabers had to be plugged in because they would spin, and because George wanted to do the effect in camera, because he's like, oh, if we shine a light on a spinning reflective tube, it'll look really cool, and then it didn't work. So after that, they changed it to like a stick,
yeah,
and then they
yeah,
did it in post. So the Return of the Jedi, they got a little bit better at that. The fights got better. Yeah.
yeah. George has a
Uh,
lot of good ideas, I guess.
every now and then, George's like, oh, for the kids, we'll do this. You got to see Yoda die. One more thing. Back to Last Jedi for just a second. The scene with Luke and Yoda is like fantastic. I go back to watch that all the time about failure being the best teacher.
Mm,
I feel that.
yeah, I love
Back
that
to
scene so
Return of the
much.
Jedi.
Back to four.
Back to four. Leia being Luke's sister, that was introduced there.
Right?
It's just
Yeah.
a good watch. It's a good ride. And then at the end, the music, Yub
Mm.
Nub, and then the galaxy celebrating. It's a good time.
It's
Everyone
good.
hugs
It's
at
good,
the end.
wholesome time.
Now, what's your opinion? Do you think Hayden Christensen ghost or Sebastian Shaw ghost?
I think it's an unfair question because I would love I as someone that grew up on the prequels love seeing Hayden, but like I
Me
think it
too.
would make more sense to be the other guy.
Yeah, but that's Darth Vader, Sebastian Shaw. Hayden Christensen is Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker
Okay,
died
yeah, yeah.
on
Okay, fair.
Mustafar,
Yep. You're right. You're right.
and then he's back.
Mm-hmm.
That made sense to me.
No,
But
you're
see,
right.
now
You're
that
right.
now they're in quite the pickle, because if they ever want to bring a Force Ghost back, they have to either make Ewan McGregor look really old, or invent a new way that Force Ghost Obi-Wan could just look like Ewan McGregor now. So I thought that was
I don't know.
interesting.
I don't know. They have so much technology now. It's crazy what they can do.
I guess you're right. Yeah, they could just do that.
Yeah.
And number 3, we got New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
what what is there to say? It's the original Star Wars. It was a feat of filmmaking at the time to have all that done. It set the standard for like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like
Good sci-fi, not like corny
good.
sci-fi.
It was a big thing when it came out with the unions. He had to fight for the title crawl because at the time it was in a lot of people's contracts to have their name pop up in a certain order in the opening credits of a film. So he had to really fight to not put that in there so we can start with a title crawl and have all the credits at the end. So that was it changed a couple of rules there. And there's a great not to plug another podcast in your podcast, but there's a podcast called Blockbuster where they cover the making of Star Wars and it's like voice acted. It's fantastic and it gives a lot of like behind the scenes information. So that's where that came from. And like it almost didn't happen. The union like voted to quit because he was working them too hard. And then he finished it and it was terrible and his wife re-edited it. Like it's a miracle that movie came out like that good.
Yeah. No, I appreciate all the background and behind the scenes stuff from the filmmaking side. We haven't
Yeah.
really heard a lot of it, but this is cool. It's a lot of new
That's
stuff to me.
that's important to me when I find out that my favorite movie, the people working on it said, this sucks. I don't want to work here anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, right. And then yeah, his wife edited it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And there's a
crazy.
lot of like the Tusken Raider that's hitting Luke. It's reversed footage. They only had like a couple frames and they played it in reverse and forward again. And that guy actually couldn't see, so he was just swinging. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened on that film.
It's the 70s,
And it
man.
and it came out really good. Originally Obi-Wan wasn't supposed to die on the Death Star, but George Lucas had to take Alec Guinness out to dinner and be like, "Listen, like, it's gonna work for this. You have to die. It's good. You'll come back as a ghost. It's okay."
Hmm.
And he begrudgingly said, "Yeah, okay, okay," and then he
Yeah.
died.
Yeah. And A New Hope, I feel like a lot
Introduced.
of people don't know. I believe it was nominated for 11 Oscars. Like I don't think people realize that like when that came out, like that had a ridiculous amount of critical reception as well.
Yeah. Well, because you think about it now, it's like a franchise film, but at the time, like it was just Star Wars. Like it was just a movie
Right.
that
Exactly.
was amazing. It wasn't episode 4. It was just this
Hmm.
is a movie.
Yeah.
But he ended it in such a way that Darth Vader, he could come back. He wasn't there when it blew up.
Right.
That whole ending sequence actually was changed in post too. The um, the rebels, it was going to be similar to the Force Awakens, where the Death Star comes to them instead of them going to the Death Star first, which is kind of what happens. But it's
Mm-hmm.
they. Oh no, I'm wrong. They were going to go to the Death Star instead of Death Star going to them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's they edited in all the like them on the comms and stuff, be like, all right, we have like 5 minutes left before they blow up Yavin 4. That wasn't even in it. They just go over there and blow it up and come home. But George is like, oh, we need a little bit more stakes here at the end. Let's have the whole space station fly through space and go to another planet.
Yeah, they didn't really
And
talk about the thruster system on the Death Star.
that thing flies through hyperspace. You saw it in Rogue One. Imagine like passing that on in your hyperspace lane, like the big ball.
Horrifying. Horrifying.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Number two. So now the first and second place spot has been pretty contentious. I've
Mm.
watched a couple of your other people. It kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Revenge of the Sith at number two,
Mm.
and it's been a pretty big pull of was I gonna put it at number one or number two?
Yeah.
But I grew up obviously on the prequels, and I hold Revenge of the Sith a very special place. And but the movie itself, if you just look at the movie and ignore all of Clone Wars that came afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
is not as good as Empire Strikes Back,
Right. Yeah.
in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But best lightsaber fight of any film. Uh, Amazing opening with the Battle of Coruscant. There's a lot of great things going for that movie, and it's like again, it's another ride. Like so much happens in that movie. It's fantastic. Seeing Phase 2 clone troopers, giant scale battles, stuff you couldn't do before CGI and stuff. It's it's amazing. That's number two.
The
But of
visual
course,
effects looked
Empire's
amazing for 2005.
they still hold up in a lot of ways. Like the
Yeah.
clones, I think look pretty good. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of move a little bit weird, but
Yeah.
the the planets look great. The ships look great. The ships in the beginning, they built them a little too small, so they had to knock the window out when they were filming so they could put their legs through it, so they didn't look like this when they were flying.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god.
But of course, Empire Strikes Back is number
Number
one.
one. Yeah.
I'm Your Father, the father and son, Hoth,
Hoth.
stop motion AT-ATs. It that is the best movie. That's like a film. That's
Yeah.
like a cinematic masterpiece. Not like the other ones. The other like Revenge of the Sith, you need to watch like all 6 movies prior to that to understand like what's going on.
Uh-huh.
But Empire, you could your average person could watch that and understand what's happening with very little beforehand research. And it's like a complete story. There's the Han and Leia love. Is Luke gets his hand cut off. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Dagobah. Yeah, I feel like the best compliment you can give that
Forrest
movie.
lifting the X-wing.
Yeah, the best compliment you can give that movie is it's a Star Wars movie, but it's on people's all-time list who aren't Star Wars fans. Like
Yeah.
they'll say the top 10 movies ever made, like they could put Empire in there, and they could be like the most casual Star Wars fan. They just respect
could
it
watch
that much.
no other films. Yeah, but Empire Strikes Back. That's a film,
Mm-hmm.
not a movie. That's a film. That's
a film. Respect.
Oh yeah.
Respect the
We
art.
learned about it in school. We talked about Empire.
That must have been a great day for you.
Yeah, that was my day.
That's
Because
awesome. Yeah.
it's hard to make a Star Wars movie. I've done lightsabers. It's like time consuming and very monotonous. So to do that on that scale at that time was like unheard of. Like industrial light magic, like they created an industry when they made this movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Your lightsaber videos were always so cool. I never knew how you did that, but yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying. Frame by frame, you gotta draw it. And back in the day, you had to do it not on a computer. You get the cell sheet, and you would literally draw it out, and then go to the next frame, draw it out.
Unbelievable.
And that my professor, she likes to say she worked on Star Wars, which technically she did, but she supervised the printer that printed those things out. the frames of the lightsaber.
Hey,
But
that's something.
it's something. Yeah, I didn't work on Star Wars. But she
Exactly.
did.
Is that one of your goals, your career goals, to work on something Star Wars?
Yes. I'm almost there. Tuesday is my first time working for Disney. Sorry, there was a bug in here. So that's one
That's all
step
right.
closer.
No
It's
way.
one step closer to working on Star Wars. My friend John, we made a film a couple years ago, and he got a background artist to paint a matte painting for his background, and her husband did matte paintings for Clone Wars season 7.
Wow.
So I'm like 4 degrees of separation from Dave Filoni. I'm
You're so
almost there.
close. You're so
I'm,
close. You
I'm
just
gonna
gotta
fix. I'm gonna fix Star Wars.
you gotta knock down just a couple degrees at a time, and then you'll eventually get
Couple
there.
more people, and I'll be in the room with Kathleen Kennedy, and I'll go, listen, we're gonna make another one.
That's awesome.
That's the goal, is to work on Star Wars.
Yeah,
I
and
will.
that
I will get whoever coffee on Star Wars. I don't even care if I'm like not even like a good position.
just getting the foot in the door. Yeah, that's awesome, Dylan, and I hope you do get it. I think you will. I think you have the passion for it. You have the background
One
knowledge,
day.
obviously, about all of the stuff that Star Wars has done in the past to influence filmmaking, and now you're taking all those lessons and yeah, I'm really excited to see you eventually make it there. And then I'm 1 degree separation. Then I'm like,
Yeah,
I know
see?
someone
I
exactly.
ascend and you ascend too. You know.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's the perfect way to
Better,
get
I could
there.
take over Pablo Hidalgo's job when he's gone. I could correct people. Well, actually, in the universe, that's this is.
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, in this book that no one ever read except me and the writer, this is canon, and you wouldn't know that.
George actually knew that Luke and Leia were sisters. He just had them kiss anyway.
Oh God, I don't want to know that at all. I don't want to know
I thought
that.
it'd be funny if they kissed. You know, they didn't know, but I
Wouldn't
did.
that be interesting? An interesting story thread to bring up. All right. Well, Dylan, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you've had a good time. I know you've been looking forward to this.
We're looking forward to this.
Mm.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I could talk Star Wars for hours.
Mhm.
My girlfriend is not happy that all the Star Wars stuff I have around the house. Like I have my little Kylo Ren right here. I got all my pops everywhere. I
Uh-huh.
got Star Wars oven mitts. I got everything.
Don't
And
don't let her make you throw it away. Don't you dare.
yeah,
Stay strong.
she tries to stop me from buying new stuff, but I could go to the store. I'm an adult, and I'll just bring it home.
Good. Good. As you should. As you should.
Yeah, that's my right. to buy more Star Wars stuff and bring it home.
That's what we have America for. The right to buy
Yeah.
Star Wars stuff.
My next purchase, I want to get the Darksaber. The Force Effects one, I think, is coming out soon. I would like to add that to my collection.
That'd be awesome.
Hang that on my wall and go, I could have bought groceries with that money, but instead, I got the Darksaber.
Who really wins here?
Me.
You win.
I always win. I got the Darksaber.
You can't lose.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for having me.
No problem, Dylan. Happy to have you. I'm sure we'll have plenty more Star Wars conversations to come. And if I ever need some background info on a movie, how they did something special effects wise, I know the first person to reach out to.
I could be your Pablo Hidalgo of filmmaking.
There you go.
You
Boom.
go, I don't
Write
know
it
how they
down.
did that, but I'll tell you how they did it. Actually,
I can bring you on as an expert guest to say this is how they did that.
yeah, note from the filmmaker. Mark is wrong. They actually did it like this.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Well, this has been a really good time, Dylan. And yeah, and thank you again for coming on. Looking forward to
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
May the force be with you, and hopefully Obi-Wan is really good.
Hopefully Obi-Wan's really good.
I'm ready for the middle of Obi-Wan when we just go follow Din Djarin for 2 episodes again. Because that's just
don't
what
say
happens
that.
in Star
Don't
Wars
say
shows
that.
now.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Well, thank you all for listening. If you want to have some more of this content, follow me at *_wars_Mark of Balance on Instagram. You'll see this post, and eventually you'll know when Dylan's episode drops. So look out for that. It'll be really exciting. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and may the Force be with you. Peace.